As usual, the Nintendo Defense Force won't like this video. What's up everyone, it's Q from Retro Q Gaming, and I'm sure if you're a Nintendo Switch owner or a Nintendo Switch fan, or just keep your eye on gaming in general, actually it would work if you have an Xbox One, PS4 or PC now that I think about it. But you're probably or possibly familiar with the indie title called Rime. Now, this game already released a few months ago on PC, Xbox One, and PS4, with the Nintendo Switch version going to release later this year, which is a big point of contention for, well, Nintendo in general. And not only is it going to release later on Nintendo Switch than all other platforms, it's going to release more expensive, unless of course you buy the digital copy. But the point is, if you buy the physical copy, it's going to be more expensive because of Nintendo's, we'll call it, questionable practices in relation to game cards, and harkening even back to the days of their Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, NES, whatever you want to call it, SNES, and N64 practices of being the exclusive provider of their game cards or cartridges or whatever you want to call them. Obviously, they're game cards and not cartridges for the Nintendo Switch, but they're cartridges for the NES, SNES, and N64. Take that. Anyway, you get the idea. And because of that, the physical version of Rime is going to be more expensive. We already know that. Now, there were some comments made in a statement regarding why the Nintendo Switch version is coming later than all other platforms that kind of piqued my interest in the way I interpreted them and I understood them. So, while this video is not about the fact that this is why Rime is delayed on Nintendo Switch, no, that's not what this video is for, but I will have to pull from that quote anyway. I'm not going to read the whole quote because it's about 4 or 5 paragraphs long, and I only want to get out 1 or 2 paragraphs and then pick apart a couple of individual sentences and all in there. So, real quick, the producer, Cody Bradley of Rime, he had this to say in regards to the whole Nintendo Switch version delay. Anyway, and once again, remember, 1 or 2 parts of this might seem out of context because I'm skipping some irrelevant stuff for what I want to talk about. Anyway, here's the quote. The end result was that the port wasn't living up to our quality standards, and we made the decision to delay the Switch version while we figured out what it would take to get the things to where they needed to be. This involved a lot of testing, various approaches, and reworking of art content. When we finally had a path forward, it became abundantly clear that we would need to delay again. The fixes were taking a lot of time to implement. Now, there's also one other part that I also want to read here too, and this is as follows. One final note, we're doing everything in our power to preserve the gameplay experience from other platforms. This means that all of the optimizations we're chasing do not involve reworking levels. We feel that this is the only viable approach for our players. Rime is a special game and everyone should have the same experience regardless of their platform of choice. In fact, in order to ensure that the same level of narrative parity is in the game, we have built an achievement system into the game so that the significance of certain key moments is not lost. For that last part, he's referring to the fact that Nintendo is the only modern platform that doesn't have a console-wide achievement-based system. Obviously, PlayStation 4 has the trophies, the Xbox One has achievements, and PC, Steam, Origin, Uplay, whatever, they have their own achievements too. So you get the idea where he's coming from that. So that it essentially means the same thing. So why am I making this video, and what am I talking about in this video? Because it's not about the delay, or the previous delay I should say, because it's not delayed again. Don't go mad about that. But the point I want to make is how I interpreted some of his comments. Are they struggling to get Rime running on Nintendo Switch properly? Is this a performance issue? Is this a power issue or a computation issue? And what I mean by that is, God, it's really hard to explain this. But what I mean by it is that some things just can't be handled as easy on the Switch hardware because of the power. Not just graphics or frame rate, but there's other things running in the background that could possibly have an effect on the actual game. Now, of course, there are more important ones too. It could obviously be a frame rate, it could be camera control, character control, actual level design, art, it could be geometry. There's multiple different things in there, but to sit here and just list them all off, we'd have a 20-minute video. Hell, we probably already have a 20-minute video, so it'll be a 40-minute video if that was the case. But here's the two lines in particular that I want to talk about. So the first one is that when he references the fact that it's not up to their quality standards and they had to figure out a way around it, he had this part to say. I'm just going to read this one line again. This involved a lot of testing various approaches and rework of art content. Now, to me, that means that something had to be changed. The art of, I don't know, maybe textures, buildings, or something potentially had to be changed because of what I understand is the hardware. Now, that's, like I said, this is just the way I understand the wording in this. It sounds like the hardware was having trouble, I don't know, resolving or computing or doing something, rendering whatever, something in the original version, we'll call it. And they had to try rework art content, which can be something like textures, or it can be something along the lines of the design, because design is also an art thing. It could be design of levels, design of whatever. But the point is that it could potentially require some reworking just to actually get that done. Now, there's another line in the second quote I read that I'm also going to read back here too. And here's what this one was. This means that all of the optimizations we're chasing do not involve reworking levels. So, the fact is that they need to work extra hard to get both the previous thing and with the whole rework of art and not, well, how can I explain this the best? The fact that they have to rework art, but not rework levels and work hard to do all of this screams to me that there's a struggle of some sort involving the Nintendo Switch, possibly the hardware, probably the hardware. Now, Rime isn't, from what I've seen at least, a little bit of it, it's not an exceptionally intensive game, but that's not the point. There's a lot of small, minuscule things that can add up or that can require specific things at the certain times, and it can have an effect. And one of the fact that they're trying to get it to where they want, and that can involve everything like art, geometry, control, camera control, frame rate, obviously being the more important thing, but all of that has to be taken into I was going to say significance. Why was I saying significance? Into account when you're looking at what is going on here, and the fact that there is the several month delay to get the game running at an acceptable version of their vision on what is widely and factually considered underpowered hardware. And this, of course, stems from the fact of, well, the power of the hardware, but what are we going to see further down the line? Because we all know as technology advances fairly damn fast, and the Nintendo Switch will be left behind. Don't get me wrong, it's still going to have great fun games, there's no denying that, otherwise I wouldn't own one. But the point is, where does that leave us in regards to the future? That's right, leave as in past tense for the future. Back to the future. But the point is, why do I keep saying about the point is? This is a terrible video. I'm sorry, everyone. This is a brutal video, production value wise. But the point is, there it is again. Okay, ignoring that. So it's going to be interesting to see going forward. And remember, I have a Switch. I love my Switch. I play my Switch a lot. I'm not a Nintendo hater. I'm not a Nintendo fanboy. I'm just being real, being logical, and using common sense about it, because you can't deny what the Switch is. It is a finite, documented source of facts and statistics and power. You can't argue with that. So we'll see how it goes. What's the deal with your experience with Rime? Are you worried about it? Are you not worried about it? Or do you have faith in them? Have you already played it on a different platform because of the price increase, or the increased price, because I suppose you call it price increase, and delay on Nintendo, whereas you could get a better version for cheaper on any other platform and play that? But we'll see anyway, because there's still a couple of months before it actually comes out. It's out in November on Nintendo Switch, but we'll see what the deal with all that is. Let me know in the comment section below if we'll call it my analysis of this statement and the wording and terminology in here, if you think it's justified, if you think I'm reading too much into it, or if it's now got you worried, or if whatever. Let me know all that in the comment section below. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the rest of the videos in my channel.